Alright, so there was a Street Fighter League set between Acqua and Yama playing Rose versus Ken that I thought would be kind of fun to do a little bit of analysis on. The big things I want to focus on here are the matchup in particular, how neutral plays out between Rose and Ken, and then also sort of the decisions that are made in between games between these two players, and sort of the give and take of how Street Fighter games sort of go, these Street Fighter 5 games. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of critiquing of either player's gameplay. I don't want to take forever on this. There's 3 whole matches we got to go through. So if I break them down all the way, it's going to be like a half-hour to 40-minute video. We'll try to go pretty fast, but I do want to stop at some key moments, some key inflection points in the games to sort of, get people thinking about when you're playing against a character like Ken or any other character as Rose, where you sort of lose neutral in the mid-range. What are the decisions you need to make, and what are the things you need to watch out for? So before we start, let me make sure I get inputs on. One of the things you'll notice as we watch all these games is that Ken has a few buttons that really dominate in this spacing. So before we go to that, this spacing right here, which is about a little less than half screen, Rose doesn't have a ton of ways to contest this range. The only one being really stand heavy punch, and as we sort of know, stand heavy punch has lots of problems against Ken because he can heavy DP or EXDP afterwards to catch you. A misconfirm leads to an optimum punish. Remember, make sure you get this target combo punish into a hard knockdown. He dashes up and goes for the standing medium kick Oki, but the Ken backdashed, and so just got to flip out. And this will be the other big theme that you see throughout all these games, which is Rose is really terrified of this range for Ken. His buttons are just better. This, crouching medium punch is +2. Rose really shouldn't be pressing anything after this. That gives Ken the ability to walk up with his walk speed and back throw you into the corner. And this is the disaster zone for Rose, right? Even though she's at a life lead, and up to this point, Aqua's playing fantastic and really controlling the match. He's pushing Ken into the corner, but that walk speed throws him in the corner, and now he's stuck. And if you've played Street Fighter V long enough, you know exactly what this feels like. It's Ken in the corner, he's tick throwing you, he's kind of shimmying around, pestering you with buttons, confirming his crouching medium kick. Acqua uses heavy punch into EX Fireball, or just EX Fireball into Activate to try and get out, and does so successfully. But now, notice that after that back throw, Rose is not only at a life deficit, where she was at an advantage, but she had a positional advantage on Ken, and now they're back into neutral. Really interesting EX punish here, and you'll notice this a lot too as we go on. Gets a nice knockdown. Instead of opting for Oki, goes for a fireball into V-Trigger 1 teleport backwards. If you'll notice, Ken is using a V-Trigger 2 here, the crazy Shoryuken thing that with punishes fireballs. So I think what Aqua's trying to do here is to bait out either a DP or this V-Trigger 2. Lots of crouching light kick and crouching medium kick from Rose, and just a pretty fantastic V-Trigger 2 buffer on Rose trying to walk around. So we don't need to watch the rest of that. So at this point, Acqua has decided, well, my crouching light kick, crouching medium stuff is sort of working, but at the same time, I'm not getting a whole lot of reward from it. So let's try and crush counter some of these standing buttons. But as you can see, Ken has an option for that. It's crouching medium kick into heavy DP, which gives him Oki. And now he can just kind of push Rose back into the corner. He's doing a good job, this Ken is, of mixing up not only his standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, but then also throwing in that heavy kick to try and crush counter when Rose does want to contest. Because as you notice, Rose is getting pushed into the corner pretty easily here. Fantastic crouching medium kick confirm. Good jump out for the Rose, but Ken was ready. A really fantastic, ambiguous sort of mix-up after the anti-air. Uses that to get out a soul punish and an orb. So you got to remember, when you're playing as Rose, your goal is to get an orb out if you're playing V-Skill 2, and to get a soul punish in between you and your opponent. is able to successfully use this V-trigger teleport to bait out the DP. Goes for regular Oki, but does not get the confirm, unfortunately. Really trying to play in this mid-range, which is slightly closer than Rose Stand Heavy Punch. Obviously because, Rose Stand Heavy Punch is not fantastic in this matchup. Goes for another bait, and then goes for the V-trigger mix-up, but really doesn't get anything off of it. It's well defended. But at this point, as you can see, Rose is in her optimum range. She has life advantage, she's pushed Ken into the corner, and can throw fireballs, soul punishes, and heavy punch buffered into EX Fireball. So, a lot of back and forth there, a lot of risks that Rose had to take to try and get out of these situations that Ken didn't have to work that hard to put her in. There's a reason why this matchup is really not in Rose's favor. Again, this crouching medium kick is just such a problem in the mid-range for Rose. Is able to kind of get this dash up and a throw, and this sort of wild dive kick. Unfortunately, misses the confirm here, I think because he was worried that the medium punch was going to whiff. Goes for a big risk here. I think, as you guys know, if you throw out a soul punish after you do a heavy punch versus Ken specifically, and Ken does the DP as if he was trying to punish your fireball, you do actually get a punish here and a juggle, but Ken hasn't shown that he really wants to try and heavy punch after these, or DP after these heavy punches, and so instead just gets the punish. So this is the thing to take away from this is not that heavy punch into soul punish is a thing. It's more like this is a matchup specific tech to try and make Ken make a poor decision or to bait out this DP and get a punish, but instead he just gets a corner carry combo into Oki, into a counter hit, and this is just brutal for Rose again. Activates V-trigger raw and then uses EX Fireball to escape. It was a good escape there. Unfortunately, you have to spend quite a little bit of meter. He's able to get the punish here on the V-trigger 1 back teleport. I probably gets the orb out, is pestering with fireballs. Unfortunately, the orb was in the wrong position to get the combo. But again, we're in this situation where Rose has the life lead, has Ken in the corner, and is able to throw out a couple of fireballs from greater than half screen. We always say Rose is not a zoning character, and she really isn't. She's more of a half screen neutral character. But in this situation where you really don't want to contest Ken's buttons and you don't really have the tools to do so, being able to get up some soul punishes and orbs is really, really helpful. So that was a struggle. Rose had a really tough time contesting crouching medium kick and crouching medium punch, and really kind of lives and dies by these baits on the V-trigger teleport. If I was Ken, I would probably stop trying to contest those because all you're really doing is setting yourself up to be baited. And as we've seen, he's able to defend against the V-trigger 1 teleport cross-up stuff fairly well. They haven't seemed to be very effective yet, so I don't even know that you really need to be trying to go for these crazy punishes. And, these games are pretty similar. What we want to look for in this one, we'll move a lot faster, by the way, is what does Rose do and what does the Ken do to sort of adjust to what they saw in the first game? We're seeing a lot of forward heavy kick from Rose and a little more slide to try and punish these fireballs. Really trying to tell Ken, look, you're not allowed to use fireballs in this matchup. You're going to have to, do it the old-fashioned way of walking forward and using crouching medium kick, which Ken starts to do, right? Notice, after a couple of slides and a couple of forward heavy kicks, Ken's like, well, do I really need to be using fireball? I could just walk you into this corner. And that's what he does. A couple of jabs, fantastic crouching medium kick confirm, and more tick throw, counter hit stuff in the corner with Ken. Interesting V-shift out of that setup. And there's not a ton to talk about here. This is really just more, if you notice, Rose is always kind of walking backwards because Ken's walk speed and his buttons and his counter hit confirms are so threatening that she doesn't have a lot of choice. Again, tries to go for this heavy punch, soul punish bait, Ken wisely uses EXDP. So, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of options here when it comes to using Heavy Punch versus Ken. Now, there is a good thing to point out here, though. When the Ken backdash, this was a really bad backdash by this Ken. Rose has no meter. She was in the corner, knocked down, and I believe backrolled even. Backrolled, and then backdashed, and got hit by the fireball. Ken really should not have backdashed here. This should have been a dash forward. Allows Rose to get back out of the corner, so that was, pretty lucky on Acqua's part that he was able to get out and not pressured. But if you also notice here, there's only 20 seconds left on the clock. And so Ken has no real need to push his advantage anymore if he doesn't want to. Not really pressing buttons, just kind of, whenever Rose moves forward, he moves backwards, right? Moves out of the range, blocking these things high. Uses EX Fireball, either on reaction to the dash or just to lock him down and waste some time. And, yeah, there's not a whole lot Rose can do at that point. She's pretty much lost the round 15 seconds ago. Back throw into the corner. Again, awful. But this is the other thing I wanted to point out. Watch what happens after this back throw. Walk forward. This is crucial. Back throw, walk forward, block. That's incredibly important because, as we've seen, whenever Rose gets back thrown by Ken in this matchup, bad things happen. You get put in the corner and you just kind of get mauled. Didn't wake up and dash forward. Woke up and walk forward. Because remember, Ken doesn't really get Oki off of a back throw. Fantastic confirm, by the way, into Super. So that's something you guys need to definitely take into account when you're playing against characters that can get throws on you very easily or can really change the positioning, but maybe don't have Oki immediately, like this Ken back throw. Waking up, walking forward, and blocking is huge. That was a crazy whiff punish on reaction. In this situation, though, notice, because Ken is closer to the corner after this throw, you really can't walk forward here. This is prime stand heavy kick or crouching medium kick range for Ken to whiff punish. I'll also note this. I do think V-Trigger 2 might have been a better choice here than this V-Trigger 1 usage because in V-Trigger 2, this is a ton of damage, right? This is a heavy kick into, Ken will probably only have 15 or 20% left, and you kind of get Oki afterwards. Instead, all you really get is, 15% damage and a soul punish and a soul orb, which is good, but again, nobody's really getting fooled by these V-Trigger 1 teleport mix-ups. They just don't seem to be that good against people that are looking for them, especially people that are pretty confident in their ability to out-neutral Rose. So, what was the adjustments by Ken that made this seem so much worse for Rose? Well, some of it was playing a little more patiently, not taking as many big risks, especially after things like, blocked heavy punch or fireball. And also recognizing when you have the life lead, not really needing to push the advantage because Rose doesn't have a whole lot of ways to sort of close that gap or make any big comebacks, especially when your V-Trigger 1 mix-ups aren't particularly being effective. So we'll move on to the final game here. There's not a ton to go over, but what I did notice is that Acqua's getting a little bit desperate. Neutral feels so bad in this situation, and if you can see here, immediately we're going for a different tack of using Fireball, forward heavy kick, trying to play a little more neutral, get some soul punishes out, bait the jump, which is fantastic. Got a really, really good confirm. That's a difficult confirm off of single hit crouching stand medium punch. But again, gets thrown into the corner and is just going to get mauled. Absolutely mauled. No V-Trigger to get out this time. Interesting, not really opting to maybe try for any V-reversal here, but Ken is also not throwing out any big chunky buttons where that would even work. And at this point, Yama can kind of smell blood. He knows that Ken... Again, here's another situation where if Rose had been using V-Trigger 2, Ken would have been dead. Instead, you have to win neutral again, and then he kind of makes a pretty questionable use of V-Trigger 1 backwards teleport here to try to bait another DP. I don't know. I don't agree with this very much because you're putting yourself in the corner and wasting V-Beater. Again, wastes the bar and goes for the mix-up, which has, you know, Yama's shown he's not getting fooled by these. But that was just an incredible walk back crouching medium kick buffer. I think that's the first time we've seen him get a crouching medium kick spiral buffer in neutral in this set. Great counter hit, but didn't get the confirm. Back throw. This time, instead of walking forward, he backdashes, throws a fireball, and dashes forward. That was also another good option he used, because instead of walking forward, which probably would have worked too, is able to, because he's not close enough to the corner where a backdash would put him into the corner, able to throw this fireball and make Ken block it. Tries to hit the crush counter, but forward heavy kick kind of sucks, so it didn't work. And well, this is Ken. Great cross-cut DP. Really sticking 2 rows with these medium buttons. Kind of a crazy Tatsu. Again, V-Trigger mix-up, not doing anything. No reason to do this. We've already seen, you know, this Yama's already seen in this set that, you know, Acqua likes to V-Trigger 1 backwards teleport after these block spirals that are absolutely unsafe. This was close enough block that Ken easily gets a punish here, and probably should have not gone for this DP. Plus frames, throw. Nice. Unfortunate buffer into DPCA. So final round here, as we've seen, going into this final round, you know, Aqua's not really getting any mileage off of V-Trigger 1, pretty much, except for a couple times that got him out of the corner. And even those situations, he has to use a lot of meter and resources to do so. Really difficult to use heavy punch here. Not a lot of buttons that are useful. In neutral, especially at the ranges Ken is able to keep rows at. Unfortunate trade on the anti-air. Back throw. Walk forward, crouching medium punch. Nice, but then gets whiff punish for it. That's kind of wild. Man, that sucks. And I think you guys probably can see how this is going to go. Unfortunate. So, you know, we all kind of know that Ken is a bad matchup for Rose. 1, because he invalidates a lot of our heavy punch fireball game and even just heavy punch game in general. V-Trigger 2 in this situation is really good at catching Rose fireballs and whiff punishing them into CA. And Rose doesn't have a ton of options. I think what I would have liked to see in this matchup, maybe even after game 1, and knowing and seeing that Yama's not really blocking or not really falling for these, 1, these V-Trigger on mix-ups, and 2, not really falling for a ton of these fakes and V-Trigger 1 teleport backwards. Got him a couple of times, but I would argue that, you know, Ken probably shouldn't have gone for any of those punishes, and he would have done even better in this match. V-Trigger 2 might have been interesting. I think you get a little more damage off of these stray hits in neutral, of which there are not a whole lot in the matchup. And also, you get just a ton of damage off of anti-airs when we see that the mix-ups aren't doing a whole lot. So, obviously really tough, but things to take away are that EX Fireball is really strong. When you get knockdowns off of it as Rose, and allow you to set up either another light Fireball or Soul Punish or an Orb, you really need those tools to navigate neutral with Ken and make him respect some of your buttons. You do have to go for these heavy punch, Soul Punish sort of baits to try and make him bait a DP, but as we've seen, he even has options against that. And, you know, finally, you got to really be careful about playing this close range game with Ken because of the way he can back throw you and just take half your life. There's not a whole lot of options for that. Maybe a little more jab, maybe a little crouching medium punch, but again, his counter hit buttons are so good, his counter poking buttons are so good that that's also sort of dangerous. Um, so yeah, I hope this was kind of illuminating, and we can have a little more discussion about this in Discord. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.